It's zucchini heaven. I have, let's see, 5, 6 zucchinis that I need to deal with. So I have been thinking of some really good recipes and I want to share those with you. So the first recipe that I'd like to share with you, and I love to have these large zucchinis for this particular recipe because I make a lasagna noodle out of these large zucchinis. So let me show you how I do that. It's really easy and it preserves well, and I eat these throughout the year. So let me show you what I do. So what I like about making these lasagna noodles from the zucchini is that these really large zucchinis work great to make lasagna noodles. So when I have something this size, I want it to fit into a standard, mason jar. And so all I do is cut about 1/4 inch down the zucchini. That's all I do, about that thick. Now I like the green on, but if you want it just white, then you can go ahead and peel yours. I put them on a dehydrator tray, and these are gonna take a couple days to dehydrate, but look how nice these are. Now, if you were to put a piece of zucchini into your lasagna, you're gonna end up with zucchini or lasagna that's completely watery. But when you take the water out by doing this dehydrated noodles, you're not gonna have that problem at all. So I don't mind some seeds in mine. If you don't like them in yours, just, cut around it. Anything works. This is super easy to do. Now these actually have some seeds. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. I won't do tons of these with seeds. And then all I'm gonna do is just fill this up with these lasagna noodles. And then I'm gonna turn them on in my dehydrator. Now you can actually do these in the oven as well, if you prefer to do that. And this is just a great option to be able to have some really good quality lasagna and still have the vegetables and not have to worry about, all the problems that you have with gaining weight with the noodles and all that other stuff. This is really the way to go. I just love doing lasagna this way. Now, I have a big composter, so I can go ahead and put my extra noodle, zucchinis outside in my composter, and I'm not wasting anything. But if you have chickens or anything like that, just, and feel free to use them. If you don't mind the seeds, they're perfectly fine. All right. So I'm just gonna finish putting this zucchini together. Now that's about it for me. I'm not gonna put a lot of these with the seeds, but these are perfectly good, just like this. All right, I'm gonna give that one to the compost machine, and I'm just gonna start on the next one. All right, the rest is the middle part of the seed. I'm gonna leave that out of mine, but this is the first one that I'm gonna work on to show you the lasagna noodles, and then we'll go on to the next recipe. So all I'm gonna do at this point is put my zucchini noodles inside of I use a wide mouth mason jar, but if there's something that you prefer to use, these work really good for taking the air out. So I'm just gonna put them in here, and I try to lay them in here so they don't get too squished. Kind of like packing pickles. All right, I'm gonna take these and just put these like this. And it's amazing to think this is a whole zucchini. That's crazy. So all I'm gonna do is vacuum seal these, and let me show you how simple it is. So I invested in a food saver machine many years ago. And so I have a big old bulky machine, but it works great. So I'm not getting rid of it. But they have a lot of other options that are so much less expensive and so much smaller and easier to use. And then they've got all kinds of attachments. Now this will take the air out of your mason jars and make it so that, you know, you can get a good seal, take all the air out, and these will last you indefinitely. So in my machine, I basically have this little tube that pulls out of the machine. I mean, honestly, it couldn't be easier. You just push it in and turn it till it kind of locks in place, just like that. So all you do is take your lid that comes with the machine, just put it right over the top of your jar, just like this. And on my machine, you're just gonna hit the machine that says accessory. So my jar is now sealed. I'm just gonna put the lid on it, and voila. Now you can store these indefinitely. Are you enjoying this video today? If so, will you give me a like or a thumbs up, or share this video with someone you think might be enjoying it as well? I'm gonna try to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And at the end of the year, if I hit my 10,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be giving away a brand new Presto canner to one lucky subscriber. So if you're interested in, you know, being part of that drawing, please subscribe today. Send me an email to homesteadpatch63@gmail.com. And I will go ahead and put you in the drawing. And if I can hit 10,000 subscribers, we all win. So the next recipe I'm gonna do with my zucchinis is that I'm gonna make a zoodles. And if you've never heard of that, it's just little noodles you can make out of your zucchini. And I'm going to also prepare some pesto sauce from some fresh basil that I had growing in my arrow garden. I'll show you how I do that. I'm gonna blanch it for just like a minute, the zoodles, and then I'm gonna freeze them later. So all I'm doing now is just making my, so these are what zoodles look like. The machine kind of cuts them into little noodles, and so instead of eating pasta, you're actually eating zucchini. So when you're all done, you should have, this is just like 3/4 of a zucchini. Sometimes I have to pull them apart, but you're gonna end up with something that looks like this. You're just gonna have kind of these little zucchini noodles. I kind of go through it and just make sure all of them, you know, broke apart and pulled away. Sometimes when they're real big, the machine doesn't pick up that part of the razor. But anyway, these look pretty good. They're gonna come apart a little bit when we blanch them as well. So I'm just waiting for my water to boil. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you how I make the easiest pesto in the whole world. So pesto is one of those things that you do to taste. Now I have an arrow garden, so I've always got fresh basil. I grow other things in it as well, but it's so easy, it's so fragrant. I just pull the leaves off of the stems. Super simple. They just come right off. And I'm gonna fill my food processor with as many as I can fit in here. Now I've also got basil growing out in the garden, but it doesn't grow year round. So if you're somebody that really enjoys fresh basil, an arrow garden is a great way to go because you can grow in the middle of winter, you can grow when it's snowing outside. It's just a wonderful machine to have. Now pesto is traditionally made with pine nuts. I'm not a pine nut fan, but I love walnuts, and walnuts is a great substitution. So you take about a cup of your pesto, of your basil, and then we're gonna add some walnuts to it. We're gonna start off with about a half of a cup of walnuts or pine nuts, whatever it is you prefer. We're just gonna put those all, now mine are chopped mainly because that's what I had in the grocery store. I'm gonna put my lid on, just like this. And I'm gonna start off by chopping this basil and walnuts, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil to the top of it. Now I have a little hole in the middle of mine, so it kind of puts it in, but I'm just gonna hit the chop mode. So this is what I do. Because this turns into a very small amount, now I do have a big food processor, but I am in love with this little food processor. So I'm gonna take the rest of my basil and put that in. So I'm gonna put all those in. I'm gonna put in another, about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of walnuts. I'm gonna put in 1/2 because I like them. And just pour those in. Now before I'm done with this, I wanna go ahead and scrape everything off the sides. And the reason is because I want to make sure there's no huge hunks of basil in there. Okay, my zoodles are all blanched. This smells so good. I can't even begin to tell you. I'll probably use about 1/2 of this. I love pesto. I could eat it on everything. Now, you can use more oil if you like. I'm trying to cut back, so I don't want to use a ton of olive oil. So mine's more like a paste, but traditionally when you make it, it's going to be a little bit more runny. So if you want yours like that, just add a little bit more olive oil till you get it to the consistency you like. And this looks perfect. Now, what I'm gonna do is put it in a couple different containers. I have a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'm just gonna put that right over each of these. Oh boy. If that isn't a great way to use your zucchini, I don't know what is. 2 meals, done. The third thing that I do when I have a lot of zucchini is that I shred it for another day and freeze it. This is such a great way to deal with extra zucchini when you're tired of eating it or you've got too much growing at once. Now I pre-measure it and I put it in these little Ziploc bags. I take as much of the air out as possible. And then when I'm ready to make a zucchini bread or a pineapple zucchini bread or a soup or a casserole or whatever I want to put the zucchini in, I just take it, I thaw it out for like an hour. It doesn't take very long. And then I squeeze as much of the water out of the zucchini as I can, and I just put that in my recipe. And I do freeze these in 1 cup and 2 cup bags so that it's easy to work with at a later date. Thank you for joining me today. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring the bell for future notifications. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.